Hey everybody, welcome back to the Rums Living channel. I thank everybody for tuning in to my first videos. I especially thank everybody who tuned in and made it through them. That was my first attempt. I said it was a pain in the ass. It's really not such a pain in the ass. I just had to get over myself and start making videos. This video is for the Smith & Wesson Sigma SW380. It has a 3-inch barrel. This firearm was purchased at least 20 years ago. This was actually the second firearm purchase that I ever made. I really didn't know that much about firearms back then. I just knew that I wanted something small that I could carry, and I had definitely heard of Smith & Wesson. And the price wasn't too bad either. By the way, 20 years ago, I don't know that that's relevant right now, the regular price was $300. It was on sale for $261.95. This firearm, well, as far as I can tell, this is probably the firearm that the lawsuit from Glock was all centered around. This is basically a Glock. I think what they had to do was change the trigger and make it dual stage, and they may have had to, I think they had to change 2 or 3 things, very minor things, just to keep within their own patent or copyrights. What they did with that trigger was they made it incredibly stiff. It's the stiffest trigger on any firearm that I've ever felt, bar none. And knowing what I know now, it was a horrible trigger. They all but ruined this firearm. And I carried it in that fashion for about 18 years. I just learned to dual stage the trigger, pull it back to where it met, and then get it to break. I did a trigger job on this about, I guess it's about 2 years ago now. That trigger job it completely transformed this. What it did was 2 things. Number one, the most important, it took away the dual staging, which I don't like. I never really did like. I just got used to it. But what it also did was it lowered some of the trigger pull poundage. I don't have a gauge, I can't tell you, and this thing was so stiff, I can't even imagine what the number would be. Like 10, 11, 12 pound trigger? It was just ridiculous. If I had to guess now, it's not much more than a Glock. So I think the modifications I did not only got rid of the double staging, but it reduced the trigger pull nearly in half. Maybe not quite, but almost. Really, all that did, all it did, was change a firearm that, when I would shoot, let's say 10 yards, I had trouble keeping it within a 12-inch circular diameter, or basically on paper, or on the bullseye. I really had to sit there and just concentrate. The first time after the trigger job, I went out and shot, and I just couldn't believe how much better it was. It just goes to show you what, I think I said a small change, these small changes to possibly maybe Duracoat this to get some thickness on there, or Cerakote it, or something. I think that would make the diameter of it slightly larger, just to where it would not back out. But the backing out, again, it only happened after like 100 rounds at least. Uh, there's no way that that pin's going to just back out on you in the self-defense world. It's just not. Um, I can see right now my video is going too long already, and it's just going to have to be two parts. So when I said there's not going to be any editing, well, I guess I'm going to have to break it down to part one and part two. The bullets I use for it are the old serrated hollow points. I have two kinds. I don't think you could see in there well enough. These are the old, same thing as XTS, exactly the same. Talons, I guess, is what we used to call them. I don't know. Basically, I use the nastiest round I could find, and I still do, because it's a 380. We're pushing it there on self-defense. That's really as low as I would ever feel comfortable going. While I'm mentioning that now, I just broke out the manual. I don't know if I read it way back when or not, but it specifically says do not use plus P ammo in this firearm. Didn't know that. I've never put plus P ammo through it. Modern day 380 rounds with good hollow points, I don't think you need plus P. That's just my opinion, but I think it's, uh, you know, I think it'll do the job, especially now that I can hit what I'm aiming at. So let me go ahead and tie this up. There are no safeties on this firearm other than, I guess, the trigger. There's definitely not a thumb safety release here. There's also no slide catch or slide release. It just opens up and you have to hold it back. The barrel is definitely not chrome lined. uh, I don't know what kind of steel it is. It's held up. I guess that's all that matters. And how many rounds have I put through this? Really? I've put more rounds through my guns in the last couple years than I've put through this thing in the last 20 years. Um, but altogether, it's had plenty of rounds through it. There's nothing wrong with this. It's going to hold up. And everything on it has been holding up. I'm happy with it. I still use it today. I have plenty of other firearms that I have supposedly replaced this with and come back to it. This is a great CCW. Absolutely great. Uh, it is light, very light. It is pretty darn thin. And it doesn't take up a lot of real estate. Um, the extractor or ejector is right here. Never had a problem with it. These are the rail slides. And this is not going to be easy, but you can kind of see it right there. If you're looking for the sights, I think you need to call it a channel sight is what they call it because it's recessed in, and there's nothing adjustable. There's nothing to get in the way. A lot of people on modern reviews really don't like these. I don't have a problem with it. It just works. It definitely works at not snagging on anything, and it's not that I don't aim or use my sights at the range, especially I do, but you know, how important are sights on a small defensive 380? You know,